Be giving away their best secrets. We're going to steal all their stuff and we're going to copy it and duplicate it, take it back to our markets. And you're going to love it today because I'm going to be hammering them with some questions. And these are going to be questions that today, if you're listening, just go for one gold nugget, like one piece that you could take that you could apply to your business and help take your business to the next level. One great thing about masterminds, if any of you have ever read Think and Grow Rich, right? Think and Grow Rich, one of the biggest things about it is people getting together, at least two minds coming together, coming up to find better ways to do things, right? And there's something that happens when like-minded people get together and they start working towards the greater good. They actually are able to achieve more as a group than they can individually. And it's amazing. If you haven't read the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, you definitely want to check it out. There's a movie out there too. If you're somebody who's like, you know what, I just want to watch the movie, do that also. But I think once you watch the movie, you'll want to read the book. It's been around for, well, going on 100 years and it's incredible, right? So that's what we're doing today. We do these every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Same link, so you don't have to worry about getting a different link each time. It's realtormastermind.live. And we have different topics. Some weeks we have topics where we will bring a couple of panelists on, but what we're really looking for is your participation. We want you to be a part of this. This is your mastermind, not ours. So we're not talking to you, we're conversing with you. So what we're looking to do is if you have questions while we go along today. So today I'm going to be interviewing these guys. And if you have a question for them specifically, put it in the chat. I'll grab it. If it's not the appropriate time to do it, we'll circle back around to it and make sure we got it at a later date. We're going to keep everybody muted out so we can keep it nice and clean. We are recording these. We do have a YouTube channel, but I can tell you this, everybody that says they're going to go to the YouTube channel and watch it, they never do. How do I know? Because I've looked at the analytics. All right. We've seen it. We've seen how many people go there. Bookmark, time block out on your calendar, noon on Mondays, Eastern Standard Time, and you're going to want to jump on these. We've got great calls and a lot of things going on. So without further ado, let's get started. My name is Jim Lambert. I've been selling real estate with my wife since 1997. We started real estate in the 1900s, all the way back in the old days. We used fax machines back in the day. It was amazing. And today we're going to talk about how to improve your real estate business here. And I'm going to introduce three people. I'm going to introduce Tony Williams. He's from the Atlanta area. I'm going to introduce Candace Neff from the Columbus, Ohio area, and another Atlantean. That's probably not even a word, Oscar, but we got Oscar Malara. Oscar, did I say your last name correctly, Malara?
You did perfectly. That's
beautiful, beautiful. So let's get after it.
I'm going to have malaria.
Beautiful. I'm going to have the three introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Tony, then go to Candace and Oscar. Tony, tell us about your experience, where you've been with real estate. I know you're working on 4.5 decades in real estate, but tell everybody what you've done so they understand why they should maybe take a listen to you.
Yeah, I mean, I started this December to be 44 years. I started off with Century 21, 5 or 6 years there. And then I was with RE/MAX 33 years. 25 of those, I had 3 franchises around the Atlanta area, and we were averaging the last 10 years of that about 175 agents. We were doing about 3,000 deals a year, 250 deals a month, and had a staff of about 15 and just enjoying it. My wife and I worked together. She's on the call today. We still work together today. The last 7 years, 6 or 7 years with RE/MAX, we were the top producers in our office. And then it's just been great ever since, just going good.
Well, Tony, let me say to your wife on your behalf, Mrs. Williams, congratulations for everything you've built. What an incredible story on that. As we know, Mrs. Williams, the woman is the neck that turns the head. If Tony's the head of the team or the family, you're the neck that turns that head. And I know that if you're there, you can unmute and answer that if you like. If not, we'll go on. Let's go to Candace next. Candace Neff, Columbus, Ohio, 5 years in the business, absolute millennial superstar. Go ahead, tell everybody what you've done, Candace.
What's up? Thanks. I'm the baby in the group here, legitimate baby in this group, apparently. So I've been in the business 5 years, like Jim said. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Last year I did 39 transactions for 13.1 million in sales and was blessed enough to be top 4 agents in the state of Ohio for our brokerage, and agent 492 out of 87,000 in our brokerage last year. So super thankful for that. But, you know, I've got, you know, a little less experience in this business as these other guys, but definitely happy to, you know, give you guys as much info and be as helpful as possible for you guys too today. So,
Candace, you were number 4 out of 1,700 agents in our brokerage, not just number 4
Yes.
out of your brokerage in the state of Ohio. Number 4 out of 1,700. I had to just throw a little bit extra on there. Sorry about that.
thank you.
All these guys you guys are going to figure out are all very humble, but all of them are superstars. We're going to get into the question. We want to hear from Oscar.
Hey guys, my name is Oscar Millar. I'm in the Atlanta area, and I guess today is actually joining us my team partner, Hector. We've been in the industry over 20 years, 22 years to be more specific. And when I got started, I had no idea, barely spoke English. You know, I'm struggling right now, imagine 22 years ago. But I learned quickly to do real estate, and it has been a success. Hector and I typically help between 80 and 100 clients every year to buy their homes. So what can I say? It's been a very good ride. We used to be with a broker that we didn't have much training, but now we're excited because the business is growing for us.
Congratulations, all three of
Thank
you,
you.
on your massive success. Let's get into the questions. Number 1, let's just start. I want to go in the same order, guys, if you're good with that, just for we don't get confused. So to what do you contribute your success? All of you are mega successful, right? And everybody on here wants to get their business to the next level. What do you contribute your success? I mean, how did you do it? And then how long did it take you to get to there? Because maybe we have some new agents on here, or newer, right? And maybe they're frustrated with where they're at. Give them some insight, Tony, Candace, and Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I've always tried to do is keep in contact with my contacts, keep in contact with my past clients, you know, keep that relationship going. You know, I read an article this morning on Inman where they talked about how we were leaving the speed type of follow-up, and we're heading over to our more of a skills-based follow-up. But in a skills-based, what you do is you learn the skills, but at the same time you work on the relationship. And we've tried to stay in contact with past clients on purpose and do things for them that we normally wouldn't do. You know, we just want to do things and they remember it.
I love it, Tony. What's your number 1 tool for staying in contact? Like everybody's on here, like, okay, I need to stay in touch with past contact. What's your number 1 tool?
I'm a real believer in talking to people. I mean, there's a lot of people that just want to text, and there's a lot of people that send emails. I hate to tell you this, but emails get deleted fast in bulk. And text is a good way because, you know, they can wait to respond back, but I'm all about talking to someone. Sometimes I may call someone 3 times in a row. They may think, hey man, something's on fire. And I'll call them one right after another because I want to talk to them. And I think that talking to somebody is real important.
Human beings love connection. I love it. Spoken like a 44-year veteran in real estate. Candace Knapp, same question.
Yeah. So at the beginning of my career, I made sure that I was not a secret agent, right? I just wanted to get myself out there and make sure that my entire sphere and their sphere knew that I was a realtor. So being a new agent, not having any money, I did the one thing that was free, and it just took some of my time, which was social media. So I was pretty active on there, making sure I was doing a ton of open houses, showed me inside houses, made people think that I was being super successful, even though I wasn't in the beginning. People would reach out to me all the time and be like, wow, you're killing it. And I'm like, yeah. But I started out my career, I would say, from my sphere, referrals from them. And then once I had some closings under my belt, I was able to start taking that money that I made and invest it back into my business. And that was what took my business to the next level. And it took me about a year of that, I would say, to get myself kind of like taken to the next, you know, the next level with my business. And ever since then, it's been momentum.
So it wasn't just overnight success. Like you weren't just born with all this business. You had to spend some time building it. And Candace, what was your number 1? You said social media. What was your number 1 social media tool?
I used Facebook. That was what I was most consistent on. Yeah. And that's when I started investing in my business. I invested in Facebook, and that really propelled me, you know, forward. So
Facebook ads. We'll get into lead generation a little bit. So I bet we'll hear a little bit more about that in a little bit. Oscar, how about you?
For me, Jim, and everybody, for me, what it has been is being open to learn. Being open to learn, being willing to switch with the market. And the reason I say that is because I had to transform myself. I was a very introverted, quiet person, and I had no idea what it needed to be done to become a real estate agent. When I got into recently, I found out about coaching and I learned how to create a database and stay in touch with them and give them the best of me. Call them, finding out how they're doing. So but be willing to learn is what has been why I'm successful in real estate.
Right. Leaders are readers, right? You earn while you learn in real estate. Isn't that right, Oscar? So I love that.
That is
Always
great.
be learning. When the day comes when you think you know everything, when the day comes that you don't think you need to be on like these masterminds, it's the day you've taken a step backwards in your career, I believe. So great. I love that, Oscar. Beautiful. So let's go on to something here. It seems to be a problem for agents, and maybe you can help somebody on this call. Agents always say this, I'm so busy, right? I'm so busy. I'm going a million directions every which way. What's your number one priority every single day? Like, what's something that you do every single day? Like if there was only one thing you could do in a day, what would that be? And we'll go same order again. Tony, Candace, Oscar.
Well, I get up pretty early, about 5:30 in the morning. I just always have. And the first thing right out of the gate is my quiet time. I'm a believer, and I just spend time making sure that I settle in. I read my Bible and I pray. I think about all the ones that have needs that day, and I lift them. And it's just real important to me to spend about 30 to 45 minutes before I get on email, before I start checking out what happens, in Facebook. I just spend time with myself and with my relationship to the Lord.
I love that, Tony. Agents forget all the time that we are the brand. People aren't hiring the name on your brokerage sign. They're hiring you, and you got to be the best version of yourself. I love that, Tony. And also focusing on others. That's amazing and testament to your success for sure on that. Quiet time, working on yourself. Love it. Candace, how about you? Number one priority every day.
Yeah, number one priority every single day is reaching out to past clients, following up with my current business, and touching base with referral partners. I do this literally every day, multiple times a day, because my past clients, my referral partners have been feeding my business since day one, and I contribute a lot of my success to that. So if I don't do anything else for the day, I'm reaching out to each one of them.
I love that, Candace. You and I have had this conversation before that every single deal you do should have a baby, right? Like you should never really go backwards in your career, because if you did the deal right and you follow up with the closing that you had, it should produce another piece of business out there because it's top of mind on them. You just helped them and you should go all in. So you've done an amazing job on that. Great. Oscar, you, number one priority every single day.
Yeah, number one priority every day when it comes for business is staying in touch, just almost exactly as Candace do. Staying in touch with my clients, looking for who I'm going to be able to help this day. Besides, but I prepare myself with, getting up early, going to the gym, setting up my routine, putting myself in the bathtub with ice. So anything that can improve my health and so I can think clear and give my clients the best of me.
Oscar, did you say you're getting in a tub of ice? Did I hear you say that?
I did.
So what is going on with this ice thing that everyone's doing? Tony Robbins is doing it. All these guys are doing. What is it that it does?
What it does for me, I started 2 weeks ago. The first day I couldn't bear it. The second day was painful. The third day was like pain is okay. And after 10 minutes, what it does, it gives us so much energy that day, and it strengthens our immune system. And the body is just, especially if you go to the gym or you're an athlete. I am not an athlete, but I push myself every day. So it really helped me recover my muscles every day. I'm not getting younger, so that you know.
Well, you look super young, so you're getting, so whatever's working, keep doing it, Oscar. So you're well done on that. Let's go to the next question we have. And this is kind of it's just a round question, but I mean, what is your secret sauce? We'll go Tony, Candace, and Oscar. Like, and what I mean secret sauce, I'm saying like, what is it you feel that you have that brings everything together for you for your business? Because all of you are incredible producers. What is it? What's your secret sauce that you've developed or that you found inside you?
You know, I really think it's the relationship side of things. I really try on purpose to stay in touch with people. For instance, like when I'm on Facebook and I see that something's going on in a family, more than just, you know, hitting like or something like that, you know, I want to pick up the phone and just say, hey, I saw you got something going on and just want to let you know I'm thinking about you, and just trying to be friendly. You know, I think there's a lot of people right now who are lonely, and just trying to be friendly with people is, you know, some people may say, well, that's kind of weird. No, people are looking for friends. They're looking for relationships. So that's really what I've tried to do through the years.
You're on it, Tony. There's a study out there that says human beings right now, we're the most connected we've ever been in the history of the world, but we're the loneliest we've ever been because people stopped building connections. And I've heard you say it now 2 different times, phone call, picking it up, having a conversation with them. Great advice for people that are trying to build their career on that. Candace, secret sauce.
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, I think everyone's going to start hearing the same things because clearly these things work. Real estate's hard, but it doesn't have to be that hard, right? So I think my secret sauce as well is just like customer service that I provide to people, being able to keep a level head through every transaction, whether it's good, bad, and making sure that my clients have the confidence in me. So that way it makes it easier for me to do my job for them and to help them during the transaction. And every client, I've not had a single time where I've not had a raving fan, more than willing to give me you know, a 5-star review on Google, and to refer me business multiple times. So I would just say that, you know, just like Tony said, your clients that you have in the moment, they need to be your top priority because those people will continue to refer you business for a lifetime. And so I would say that, you know, just based on the fact that I've been able to, you know, build some raving fans, I would say customer service and just being, you know, putting my clients first and pouring into them has been a secret sauce for me. So.
Hey, Jim.
I love it. I love that.
Jim,
Yes,
you know,
go ahead, Tony.
one of the things about this, kind of shake this up a little bit. When someone comes to me and says, hey, are you still in real estate? To me, that's a total failure on my part. Okay. I don't have to push and push and push, but I want people to know that I'm their source. When someone comes to me and says, hey, what's the market like right now? That's one of the greatest compliments I can get. And I have to be prepared because normally they're prepared to talk about it. So that's the thing about this is when you build relationships, make sure that you've got something to talk about and that you're studying the market.
I love that. Yeah, that's a failure on my part if they don't know I'm still in real estate. That goes back to Candace's don't be a secret agent, right? Let everybody know. Look, we got to be our biggest self-promoters. Sometimes self-promotion stinks, but you just got to get over it and we got to promote ourselves. So everybody who's logging in, we've had some come in after we got started. We're talking with Tony Williams, Candace Neff, and Oscar Millara. And what we're doing is we're going over some questions. If you have a question for one of these specifically as we're going through, or you get a great aha out of something they're saying, go ahead and put it down in the chat box in there. And we'll be able to get that question to them and they'll be able to answer it directly for you. Oscar, for you, same thing, like what is it, your secret sauce? What do you think it is?
What it is I learned early on in my career 20 years ago that people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And people don't care how much you know, but how much you care for them. And I guess it's the book that you just mentioned, if I'm not incorrect. But I learned how to stay in touch with them and let them know that I care. I'm here in this industry to help them. Because the reason I got into real estate was that in particular, that I did, when I bought my first house, I had no idea how to do it. And then the second house, either didn't have no idea. And then when I switched careers after 9/11, I thought, well, I think I can help people. I used to come from an engineering mindset by trade, and changing from an engineer by trade to a salesperson, it took me what I said in the beginning, being willing to change, being willing to learn, being willing to be coachable. So to answer is the question is, make my clients, make them feel important, that I care for them.
Love it, right? And that is a great quote. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I love it. Great stuff, Oscar, on that. Sounds like you and I read a lot of the same books. That's great. Love it. Love it. All right, let's switch it up a little bit here. Let's get into some actionable items for people. Let's talk about lead gen. As we know, 0 leads is 0 money. A little bit of leads, you get a little bit of money. If you have a massive amount of leads, you can make a massive amount of money in real estate. So, Tony, what's your most effective lead generation tool or process? Like if somebody wanted to take it and they're in a different market than you and they want to take the Tony Williams plan, like what's he do for lead gen? What do you got?
Well, I train a lot of agents, and the thing about this is I think that sometimes we get so caught up in the weeds. Like for instance, we have KV Core, and every once in a while an agent will call me and say, hey man, I'm just trying to figure out all these videos about KV Core, how this thing works. And I go back to a very basic way of taking a listing, and I'll call the agent and say, hey, are you okay if I advertise your listing? And if I'm low on listings, and I'll take that listing and I'll put it on Facebook. There's a way of doing that quickly, automatically switches over so that you can get the lead. So I'll do things like that, but don't get caught up in all the weeds and chasing all the little silver things, the shiny objects that are everywhere. Find the most basic, quick way to go after a lead and do it that way.
A lot of agents get caught up chasing all the shiny objects, right? Going from one to the next, right? So great advice. Candace Neff, number 1 lead generation tool or process.
Well, I'm gonna have to stick to what got me to where I'm at today, which is Facebook. Facebook advertising is so inexpensive and so effective. It does take some time to build that lead, those leads coming in, but when you find a good ad that you can run and you keep it running. I've got an ad that I've been running since 2019, and I just update it to make sure it's current with the market. But that ad was what kind of got me to where I'm at today. So I would say the most effective lead generation tool and probably the most cost effective would be Facebook.
Beautiful. Awesome. Love it. We're going to actually come back a little bit to how much you're spending and things like that on the next question. But Oscar, what's your most effective lead generation tool or process?
My best has been doing pop-bys or phone calling. Go and see people and calling them. That's been my best. Now I do everything else not as I should do it, but like videos and Instagram or Facebook, not paying advertisement. But the most effective is being in touch with people over a phone call, asking them how they're doing, what can I do for them, and prospect them at the same time. In a quick question, I ask them, hey, you know what, this is a quick business call, but first of all, I want to know you're doing okay. Yes, okay. Quick question, who do you know that might be interested in buying or selling real estate? Simple as that. And I do that to lead gen when I set up and block the time for it.
Oscar, tell everybody who may not know what a pop-by is. Describe what a pop-by is.
Great question.
Yeah, you said you were buying on Popeyes, like Popeyes chicken. And if so, I'm looking for my lunch for you right now. That's my favorite food. But go ahead. What's a Popeye?
Right. Yeah, exactly. When I started real estate in my 3rd year, I found out about Brian Buffini coaching company, and they taught us about doing pop-bys for your clients, which means you go and see them. When you bring them a little gift, but really the gift is not what you bring them, is you go and see them and just ask, tell them, hey, I'm in business. I care for you, I came to visit. That's what the message they get. And that's what it's called a pop-by. And if you do that consistently, just set up your database for your best referral customers and friends, clients, and that's how you take good care for about.
I love it. So there's a lot of new people getting into real estate, and real estate over the past couple of years has really been more like order taking than doing sales, right? It was, we had quite a run, almost a decade of just straight easy real estate. So we're going to stay on this lead generation topic because I want to drill down a little bit on each of you on this. How much time do you spend per day on lead generation? That's part one of the question. And then if you're spending money, what is your budget on lead generation for marketing and advertising and things like that? Like give somebody an idea of what you're doing. We'll start with Tony and then we'll go Candace, Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about how I get started in the morning. The second thing that I do is I study things that seem to be working across the board. I mean, I look at different, things that might work. For instance, like I have a magazine. I'm asking my wife right now on a text what the name of the thing is, but we have a magazine that we send out to probably 150 different past clients. Goes out every couple months. Very nice copy, all personalized. We do that, and then the other thing that I do is I have a subscription to a thing called Land Voice that gives me expireds and for sale by owners, and I can go in there and search by certain criteria, certain dates, certain price range, things like that. And I can call on those for sale by owners and expireds. So I in Land Voice, I think I pay $900 a year for that. The magazine, I want to say I pay $250 an issue for that, which I have a lot of people walk up and they say, "Hey man, I really like your magazine." That's great, Hopefully I will proof it before it goes out next time. But those are some of the things that we just stay in contact with people, making sure I know more and more expireds are coming up, more and more pre-foreclosures are coming up, and you can get those in things like Land Voice as well. So we're seeing more and more of the market switch over to expireds and pre-foreclosures.
Tony, if on a newer agent who's on here, how much time would you recommend them per day? Because so many agents think they work all day long, right? And they're getting up at 9 in the morning, they're starting their day at like noon and things like that. And then they wonder why their business isn't going, because for the past couple of years, it was going. You could do that, right? You could work 4 or 5 hour days and you could make a lot of money. It's different now. What would you tell an agent that's struggling? How much time should they be putting in daily for lead generation?
Well, first of all, you have to time block. You have to set time during your day that works into when people actually answer the phone. And so, I may work, 2 hours, making calls, when it comes right down to that. So, somebody told me the other day, he said, real estate's a grind. Actually, real estate's fun. I have a good time selling real estate. So the thing is I don't think it needs to be a grind whatsoever. I think you need to be able to live your own life. So, a couple hours, maybe 3 hours a day for lead generation types of things. And then I stay in contact with agents in the community as well.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's a 44-year veterans, folks, saying 2 hours a day, nailing the phone, calling people they know just to make a friend and to make them feel good. Just check in, see how they're doing. And then Oscar has the question of the day. Who do you know, right? Who do you know might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's great. Love it. Candace Neff, next. How much time do you spend in lead generation? What portion of your budget, or how much are you spending on it? And it's also people actually asking about the ad you're running too. So go ahead and answer those questions in the chat if you saw them.
For sure. Yeah, I've been trying to answer on the side, but about 3 hours a day, I would say, which consists of making phone calls, but also checking on my ads and things like that, reaching out to clients. So I'd say about 3 hours at least. And then I can kind of break down what I spend per month. That one ad, I spend about $300 a month on it. I started out spending $150 a month. So it's been a very good investment. I do about $300 a month on Realtor.com leads. I split that with a lender who does another $300 for me. About $150 a month on social media content. I do delegate some of that to a company to help me stay consistently posting on social. I budget usually somewhere around $300 to $500 a month. I try to take about 20 clients a month and either send them little gifts or meet them for coffee, drinks. So I budget, taking them out to do that. And then I do also, one of my, my niches in real estate is just trying to, again, find people who like what I like. And so I like to golf. So I do spend some money on golf course advertising, just being like the realtor who sponsors the scorecard or is sponsoring a hole or whatever it might be. So give or take about $13.50 a month is what I spend on advertising. So
when Candace says she likes to golf, she was the women's golf coach. So she doesn't just like to golf. She is a hell of a golfer. Don't ever get a driving contest with her. She will embarrass you. She crushes that thing. And
I was the glorified babysitter for a golf team.
Don't go on the golf course with her and make her hit for the men's tees because you're going to get your ass handed to you. Let her hit from the women's. She will roast you. Great job.
Don't bet her.
Yeah, and do not bet. Oh yeah, don't bet her in golf. You will come away, your wallet will be empty. So don't ask me how I know. All right, let's go on. Oscar, how about you? Lead generation, man. What do you got?
Somebody has a hot mic, I guess.
I mute him out.
Okay. I spend an hour, a little bit more every day, lead generation. And currently, we're not spending any money on lead gen, on advertising. But when I got started in real estate, there was no social media then. There was no barely internet. So I did spend probably 17 to 20% of my income on the traditional way, newspapers, you name it, those grocery stores. My face was there with my number, everything that I could invest to get my name out there. Because in this business, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And they know that you're in real estate. The first thing that kind of struck me, it was what Candace said today. Remind me about my first instructor after pre-license. I took post-license in marketing. And this instructor said, if you want to make it in real estate, you got to make 10 new contacts every day. To me, it was like, shoot, I don't know nobody. I'm shy. I'm timid. I'm quiet. I don't speak the language. I had 20 excuses for not to do it. But you know what? I had a big dog chasing me. I had a family to feed, kids to feed. And that's what I said. I had to change. I had to do what it needs to happen, which I have to do, make 10 contacts a day. And I did that. I was going to the malls to talk to people. And that's how I got started. But I spent money back then. Now what we do is just spend money with the clients that refer us. We take them out to eat and we take good care of them.
That's great. I love it. I love it. Great. And Oscar, by the way, your accent's super cool. So you keep that. You're not stuck with like an Ohio farm boy accent like I got. But let's go on here. I'm going to go rapid fire through all three of you guys. Agents get these big fat checks, right? They get their commission check. What percentage should they be sending away for taxes? And what percentage should they be putting away for marketing? And we'll go Tony, Candace, Oscar, just percentage. Percentage for taxes, percentage for marketing.
Well, I may not pay quite as much tax as everybody else because I shelter so much through expenses and all. But 30% for tax is kind of on the high end. Make sure you've got that put away. On the marketing side of it, 8 to 10%, something like that.
There's what do you think?
All sorts of ways to get free leads. So don't pay people up front to buy leads. Okay. You can pay at the closing table for a referral fee, but don't pay for leads up front.
I agree with Tony on that. Candace, percentage for taxes and marketing, just a percentage of their check.
Yeah, I would say I do 30% for taxes. And then I do about, probably like Tony said, I would say somewhere between 10 to 15% on marketing and advertising.
Oscar, how about you?
30% for taxes and at least 10% for marketing
spending on marketing with spending it on your past clients and things like that. Love it. So everybody's got that. So here's the thing. If you're a newer agent, don't spend it all. when you get it, make sure you're putting some away and reinvesting back into the business. You know, Oscar said something on the last thing he answered. And he said, in the old days, guys, you had to do magazines and newspaper ads, and you didn't even know if the ad was going to work. And then it would have to go out and it'd have to run, and you burnt the money. You may not even get one call. Nowadays with social media, you can get instant feedback on your Facebook ads. You know, if things are working, you can do what Candace did. You can scale it up if it's working. It's great. I've heard Tony talk about this, but I want to get it from all three. What does your daily schedule look like? Like time blocking, like lay it out. What time do you get up? When do you do your personal growth? When do you do your lead gen? Let me hear it. Just so go through. We'll go same order.
Well, you know, I talked about my mornings, you know, and then really what I do is I'm sitting out at the lake right now. And if I'm not having to be eye to eye with someone, if I can do the Zoom call, I'm going to be in a place where I have personal time. So that's real important, especially as long as I've been in the business, is get to the point where you have time for your family and for you. You know, I wrote something down. I wanted to bring this out. You know, if you're just saying that everything is okay, your family is going to start thinking that you think everything's okay. But the thing is if they see that you're on fire and you're really engaged, they're going to know you're working, and just stay engaged. So, you know, my day, I'm engaged, but what I try to do is I just stay in contact with people during the day.
Love it. Candace Neff, what time you getting up? What's your day schedule look like? Time blocking it out.
Well, I'm a typical realtor. I don't get up that early. I'm probably like between 8 and 8:30 in the morning. I'm getting up. I usually, you know, get up, have breakfast, sit down. My time block in my morning is 9 to 12 for lead generation follow-up. So checking on my current transactions, making sure they're all, you know, on track, checking my CRM, you know, following up with my past leads, my new leads. I do plan out my messaging that I'm going to send out to somewhere between 5 and 10 of my past clients per day who I want to reach out to and connect with them. And then the remainder of my day is a little less time blocked. It's more so just kind of scheduled out for, you know, showings, meetings, events, networking. I always make time for events and networking because I get a lot of realtor referrals. So that's been a big part of my business. And then usually I try to keep my evenings as freed up as possible. I try to tell my clients just like 10 o'clock is kind of like my cutoff, but that's just for me to be able to just have time for myself and you know, my partner, and, you know, having my phone calls with my family and things like that. And I'm a late night person. So, you know, I like to watch my shows, and that's kind of like my decompression time. So.
Love it. Great stuff. Oscar, same question to you. What's your daily schedule look like? When you getting up? What's your time blocking look like?
Typically, I get up at 6:30, do my personal routines, which is praying, doing a little bit meditation, going to the gym, typically at least 4 days a week. After I come back, and again, like I mentioned before, I put myself into a towel with ice and water, so I feel ready by 9 a.m. Typically, I'm already making some phone calls, prioritizing my day, see what's really requires my time and what's the most important for that day. So I need to achieve that. Typically, I block between 10 and 11 to follow up with clients and prospect that time. And after that, I take time to learn something, watch a video or training or any certification. Lately, I switched to doing commercial real estate, and I'm doing business brokerage. So I'm kind of busy taking some certifications with the IBBA, which is the International Business Brokerage Organization. So that's what typically by 7:30, I'm tired, I'm fried, my phone goes to take a rest. And my clients know that, by the way. So they know that if I answer them after 7:30 is because my phone is still not charging. But it's important that you let your clients know what your schedule is.
Setting the expectation and having time to decompress, unwind, and also taking care of yourself first thing in the morning. All three of these superstars are doing that. Love it. So we had a question directly to Tony. I want to come back to it. Elise T. Silva said, Tony Williams, Atlanta, where do you get and print your magazine? So you mentioned a magazine a little while back. Some people had some questions on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the name of the company is. the magazine itself is called It's Good to Be Home. And I'm trying to figure out what the name of the company is that does that. And maybe I can get it back to you, but
Tony, it's okay to say that Mrs. Williams handles that, and
she does.
then
She handles it.
she
I'm
can
telling
chime
you.
in there if she's on this call. She will welcome.
I give her the names and she gets it done for me. So yeah, but the name of the magazine is called It's Good to Be Home. And yeah, we send that out. But good question. I'm just trying
Elise,
to
did
find-
that answer your question? We'll get it. And we'll put it in the chat if we can, Elise. We'll try to find a link for you if we can. Sounds good. She gave double thumbs up. So we're good to go. Great on that. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So here's what we know about real estate, right? In any business as an entrepreneur, you have to track, right? You have to track, and a lot of agents who get in, they don't want to track because it's the hassle of tracking your numbers and knowing your numbers, but you have to do it. If you don't, you're not going to win, right? You can't know where you're going to go if you don't know where you've been and how you're going to get there. So let's go through the three, same order. How do you track your business?
Really, it just, you have to know where you are all the time. I mean, you have to keep up with where your listings are coming from and also where your buyers are coming from. You know, cut out the ads that don't work. You know, like, you know, we're talking about this time block thing. I'm real funny about what I listen to. I know this is getting off that question a little bit, but I don't listen to the news going down the road. I listen to a little bit of music, but most of the time, you know, I'm on an Audible book or something like that when I drive. So, but you know, maintaining, keeping up with where your things are coming from, and then making decisions on your return of investment for advertising based on what works.
I love it. Candace, how do you track your business?
So I keep a Google sheet, and I have like multiple sheets within a Google sheet. If you're familiar with that, it's similar to Excel, but Google is awesome. I highly recommend use your Google platform because you can take it wherever you go. But I keep track of like my end contracts, my close, who's in my pipeline, always keeping track of where my clients came from. That helps me to go back and look at my advertising, like Tony said. So everything I told you guys earlier about what I spend, I don't spend a whole lot, but I do spend it on the ones that have proven to give me, you know, my business. So it just helps me keep track of, you know, where it's coming from, and you know, it's a simple laid out way. And I just kind of did it in a way that makes sense for me in my eyes. So that way, you know, again, sometimes you can go on, you can find, you know, different business trackers, but you got to do what's best for you, because you want to make sure it makes sense to you when you're going through it, filling it out and reviewing it. So.
I love it. Oscar, same question.
I use a CRM to track my business. Back in the old days, I used Top Producer. Nowadays, I'm using Follow Up Boss, and is doing a good job for me. But you can also do, sometimes I just simply, when it comes to commercial right now, using a Google Sheet, just like Candy says, because I'm just getting started with building a database and tracking my business with that.
Oscar, if you know, how much is Follow Up Boss? Is it a monthly fee, annually fee? Do you have an idea for anybody who might be
About
looking at it?
$69 a month.
Okay. So it's a
Now,
monthly plan.
if you add a number on it, so you can call from it and text from this, about $100.
Okay. Perfect. I love that. So a quick question to all three of you, anybody answer that does this. Anybody use the old school whiteboard up on the wall and with everything coming in like that, where it's visual and you can look at it every day, or is everybody digital now and on computer and phone? I would probably know our millennials probably all cell phone, but
You know, Jim, I tried that, but my handwriting is so bad, it just made me more frustrated. So
they don't teach handwriting in public school anymore, do they? It's all typing on that. And Tony,
Yeah.
Oscar, you guys, you guys aren't old timers. You're seasoned. All right, that's what I always say. Seasoned in this business. You guys use whiteboards or anything like that, or you're digital too?
I use the transaction coordinator. She's in the other room right now, and I mean, she keeps up with it all. The whiteboards have been gone for a long time.
All right. Oscar, same with you?
Yeah, same with me. It's been a long time. I always like technology, so I embraced technology as soon as I got into real estate, because I was already in technology computers. So I used the whiteboard for a little while until find out that I have digital tools.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we all know it's like the world's worst kept secret that the real estate market has shifted. All right. So here's going to be the question. What are you doing differently this year than you did last year to work to improve your numbers, right? Because we see a little, the real estate's plateauing a little bit and some people's numbers are off. What are you doing that's different, right? Because everybody's had to step up their game now. What are you doing? We'll go Tony, Candace, Oscar.
Yeah. And by the way, that magazine is from Reminder Media. Reminder Media is where I order those magazines. The thing that I try to do is my mindset is I've switched over where, people talk about the interest rates being high, but I want to tell you, this is my 5th go around of a slower market. And what I realize is the public, they're going to buy homes no matter what the interest rates are. And over 30% are cash buyers right now. So making sure that every time I speak to a prospect, first of all, making sure they're pre-qualified. I've always taught, don't get in the car, don't meet anyone that's not pre-qualified. And then if they're cash buyers, making sure that they've got proof of funds. So keeping up with what's going on and not letting the media control, what I do on a day-to-day. And that's the big change that I've had in the last couple of years.
The economy does not have to be my economy, right? So everybody hold on to their butts for a second, because I'm going to ask Tony a question. And 44 years, Tony, what is the highest interest rate you've ever seen? Like, we're in the 7s right now, right? People are panicking. Oh my gosh, the world's going to end. What's the highest you've ever seen in 44 years?
18 and a half.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody just had a heart attack, Tony.
And I want to tell you, when it went from 18 to 11, we were like, we're going to get rich. It's unbelievable. And of course, we were also working on, ARM loans all the time. But on up around that 18 mark, when Mr. Carter was president.
I heard a stat the other day, the average interest rate since they started doing mortgages, since back in the 50s, has been 8.5% if you average it over the entire time people have been selling homes. So we're still below the average of what it's been over decades and decades and decades. That's awesome. 18%. It was people were buying houses with credit cards back in the day, Tony, basically.
Yeah.
Awesome. Candace, what are you doing differently this year that you didn't do last year?
So I am just coming up on a full year of having a transaction coordinator. That's been a game changer for my business. Being able to delegate that, busy work for me to be able to focus more on, I'm starting to look into more advertising options for higher quality leads, and then systems to help me, just put my business on autopilot. So focusing on a lot of that this year.
Awesome. Oscar, how about you? What are you doing differently this year?
This year has been more focused on listening less to the bad media, bad news. I learned a long time ago that if you watched the television or the news, you are misinformed. If you don't watch them, you're not informed. And you decide if you want to be uninformed or misinformed. So I'd really just focus on what's really is going on. And what's really going on is we have lack of inventory and lack of supply and so much need right now. So when buyers ask me or sellers ask me, why do you think the market is going to crash? And my answer is, I don't think so, because everything is demand and supply. So what I'm doing different is just being persistent and delivering the message that the market is not crashing, at least not right now. And there is no any indication that at this time. And I can tell them, why don't you go and see how many multifamilies are building anywhere right now? It's crazy. The need is great.
Yeah. They keep making people, don't they? Somehow that must be in the water or something. Babies keep showing up. I don't know how that happens, but all right, question. And this wasn't, this question is about transaction coordinators. I've heard it mentioned a couple times with you guys, transaction coordinators. If somebody was going to get a transaction coordinator, how much are you spending, just so they have an idea where they, and then when did you bring it into your career? So we'll go with Tony, then we'll go with Candace, and then Oscar.
Well, I don't pay anything because it's my wife, but 1987, she came on board and took care of all my paperwork, all my uploading of documents, everything I do along that line. I do know that several of the agents that I work with spend somewhere between $250 and $300 a transaction. So that seems to be about what the going rate is 250 to 300 transaction. And that's from taking it over after the contract up to the closing. That's lining up the inspector, that's getting all the documents uploaded, everything that the broker needs.
Love it. Candace, I heard you mention transaction coordinator.
Yeah. I pay her $325 per transaction. But she literally, like Tony said, just kind of takes, all I do is write the contract, and then she takes it from there till closing. So, and she does other things for me too, at like a additional price if I want her to go pick up signs or lock boxes or, whatever it might be. She does kind of offer all of that. So yeah, I would say about $325 per transaction.
Very good. Oscar, you use it at TC?
Yeah, actually, that's a good advice that I give to the agents now, because it took us 20 years to make that decision. Typically, as an agent, we think we are control freaks and want to do it ourselves in order to get it done right. That was my mindset and my brother. So finally, 2 years ago, we brought one, and it's a virtual VA. She does so much for us. We paid her per hour. She's from the Philippines, and we are relieved of now we have a lot of more time. But now to the agents, I suggest them, because we also are mentors with this company. And a lot of agents, when they're brand new, they have no idea. And they want me to teach them how to write a contract. And I tell them, look, pay a TC, because I don't have time to teach you that. But anyways, that we use a virtual assistant.
So I'm seeing in the text that California pays in the neighborhood of 500 per transaction. How many of us use virtual assistants, VAs?
Your Philippines person, Oscar, that's a VA or somebody who's here, living here, who's from the PI?
Yeah, it is a VA, and we only pay her $5 an hour.
Wow.
For them, that's big money, by the way, just in case you didn't know. That's
Tony, where do you I'm sorry, Oscar, where do you find a VA for $5? Did you go to Fiverr? Where'd you go?
There's many options. Yes, Cyberbackers is one. There is Cyberbacker. There is also, with our company, we have Sphere Rockets. They help us find one. Or you can go on your own on Fiverr, like you said. That can be an option too. Sometimes it's just
Oscar, will you type those in the chat box for people?
Yeah.
Those three, I think you gave 3 or 4 there. If you so people who want to look at them, virtual assistants becoming a bigger and bigger thing as we see it. So we're going to be we're wrapping up here a little bit, but I just wanted to give a little commercial for next week. Next Monday, we are actually going to be covering a topic where we're going to have some panelists on, some mega producing agents, and it's going to be grow your mindset to grow your business. We've heard Tony and Candace and Oscar mention it quite a bit, and actually it's going to lead into our next question here about working on themselves, right? We are the brand. We are what people are hiring. And so you've got to work on your mindset to grow your business. And that's going to take us into, again, it'll be noon Eastern next Monday, time block it out. Here's the next question for our panelists here. Where do you go to invest in yourself and your education and coaching? Like, where do you go? Who do you use? Who do you follow? What do you spend? We'll go Tony, Candace, Oscar again.
Yeah, I really like, right now, I really like Ed Milet. He's a great author and has a great podcast. Currently on Audible, I'm listening to The Gift of Influence by Tommy Spalding, which is a book that I'm really enjoying. He tells all different types of stories on how to have influence and how others have had influence. So I spend time, when I'm in the car, it's my time. So most of the time there, I've got Audible going.
Beautiful. I love it. Austin Lipking says, successful individuals invest strategically in their passions like real estate, which expand interests and wealth. For me, committing to personal values that align with my life and businesses like the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance drives meaningful engagement. Love it. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate that. So Candace, let's go to you next. Where do you invest in yourself and your education and coaching?
Yeah, I honestly, 100% transparency. I've not spent a whole lot of money on coaching. Thankfully, I've surrounded myself with some pretty awesome agents, and I've made connections with agents who are super successful. So I do tend to, when they're putting on masterminds, when they're putting on events, like I'm there, I'm with them, I'm talking to them, I'm taking notes. So I just plug into what they're doing. And obviously I attend a lot of trainings within our company, making sure I pick and choose the ones that are, I feel like I'm struggling the most in. And that the only thing that's taking from me is just time, but it's 100% worth it.
I love it. Self-analysis, identify it, and then attack the issue, work to grow just a little bit better each day. I love it. Great questions on that. And Oscar, how about you? Where do you invest in yourself in education and coaching?
Everything is about mindset. We only can achieve, we only can get what we can visualize. And we have to become prior to get. So you need to understand that. And I spend my time in reading good books, self-development books. And the first one I read that changed my mindset a little bit was As the Man Thinketh, So Is He of James Allen. It's a little book, and that kind of opened my mind a little, my eyes to. And then I follow, I've been to events like Tony Robbins events. I have a lot of virtual mentors, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, you name it, Gary Greca, a lot of great motivators out there that kind of have taught me how to think outside outside the box. And I read so many books. One of those was Outwitting the Devil. The reason I stay in business and alive, I guess, and with positive mindset was during COVID. It was because I had read that book years ago.
Yeah. Hey, and Jim, I'll tell you, there's several agents on here that I mentor, and I want to just say how important it is to stay engaged. GrowGlobal's thing that we're doing every Monday at noon. This is a great example on how to stay engaged. I can take you to the people that I'm mentoring that I never hear from, and I never see them on Zoom calls. And from time to time, they'll call and say, why am I not making sales? It's all about staying engaged and picking up the ideas, writing them down, putting them into action. So every Monday at noon on GrowGlobal, there's some great information shared here.
I love it. Yep. And we'll keep doing this. And by the way, if you have a topic that you're excellent at, or you'd like to be one of our panelists in the near future coming up, let us know. Let the person invite you know on here that you'd like to be a panelist and have a chance to talk. And we'd love to hear from you. So I appreciate all the chat going on. By the way, anybody who wants to download the chat, you can hover over the 3 dots where it says more down there inside the chat box, and you can click Save Chat, and it will save this as a text file, everything in the chat, to your computer for you to go back and review. So we're going to go to the last question to each of our panelists here coming up, and then we're going to wrap up. And this one is one that make you think. You talk about all the successes and things like that, but one of my mentors, John Maxwell, says sometimes you need to lead with failure. Like, describe an epic failure, a failure that you've had in your career that changed the way you set your business strategy. Like, what's something that you messed up on? If you could go back and redo it all over again, what would that be?
Yeah, that's an hour's talk, but I can tell you that I made the mistake. I was on a board of a bank, and I made the mistake of putting all my commercial deals, all my investments, all my rentals in that bank. And then in 2009, I watched that bank fail, and I got the letter in the mail, and then they would not renew any of my commercial notes. So in 2010, we lost everything because of the failure of the bank. So if diversify, invest, but make sure you spread it out. Spread it out. Don't get involved with just one group of lenders.
Words of wisdom. I feel you. You say the year 2008, and I wet myself a little bit. So that period, 08, 09, and 2010, brutal stuff back then. Candace, how about a failure? You're kicking butt. What's a failure? Something you could redo if you went back 5 years?
I mean, I don't know. I would say I'm 5 years in the business. I'm sure I've got some big failures coming up, right? But I joined these to learn from people like Tony and Oscar and people who've been in the business forever to know what not to do, right? But I just didn't invest soon enough into my business. And I feel like that was a big failure because I feel like I could be at a whole nother level right now if I would have just taken just even a little bit and just invested it into my business. So I would just say, you know, like bet on yourself, invest in your business and just go all in.
Love it. Yeah. Invest in your business. Go hard. Love it. All right. How about you, Oscar? Wrap us up. Bring us home, brother. What's a failure if you could go back over the last couple of decades and redo over again that everybody could learn from?
Man, failure or challenges in my life, I call them. One was on 2007 with the market crash. I thought I had it going with my team, 7 agents with Remax, and we were just doing like 20 transactions a month. We thought we had it all. And I forgot to, and then the market crashed and I didn't want to switch to the new, what's going on at that time. So we stick to the same thing that we were doing. That was a big mistake. So from selling that many transactions, and then the following year, we sold, I think, well, we earned like $30,000 total in gross revenue, GCI that year. And the following year, we doubled it, but we were dying until we had to reinvent ourselves. We got to specialize in REOs and short sales in order to move on with real estate. So not adapting sooner was the biggest mistake.
Love it, man. You got to move quick. Don't wait. Everybody, you go extinct like a dinosaur overnight in this business. So round of applause, everybody, for our 3 panelists. They always nailing them with the questions and they were knocking them out of the park. So well done, guys. I want to thank Tony Williams, Candace Neff, and Oscar Millara for being on here and answering the questions today. And so look, we'll be back next Monday, noon Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a great topic for you on how to grow your business by growing your mindset. We're going to have some superstar panelists. Plus, we'd love to hear from you in the chat and some great questions and things like that. Like, what do you do for your mindset to grow your business? This is going to be interactive. Again, if you have a topic or something you're an expert on, let whoever invited you on here know. And bring a friend next week. Here's the great thing about masterminds. The bigger the group is, the more diverse it is across the country, the more we can all learn from each other. And together, we can all earn more than we can by ourselves. So thank you, everybody, for jumping on today. Have a great one. We will see you next Monday at noon. Great job today, guys. Well done. Well done. You were in the hot seat.